This is another show of Natural as F. We're coming to you today, and we come to you every Tuesday at 6 o'clock with a show about holistic health and healing from the modality called natural hygiene. We are educators of natural hygiene. Natural hygiene is a science that doesn't believe in artificial means or adulterated means and conditions towards health. We actually show individuals how to use their environment and modify their habits where they can have better health in their bodies. We don't employ none of the medicine. So if you're looking for a medical cure right now, it's best that you go find your medicine man. He's well equipped to provide you with all the drugs you need. If you're looking for a herbal remedy or some type of curing agent, this is the wrong show also. You'd be best to find your master herbalist or some type of naturopathic doctor. We're natural orthopathic doctors, meaning that we believe that, you know, disease is upright. You know, your cough is necessary. We don't stop or suppress disease in any manner. We remove cause where the symptoms of the body or of disease disappear on its own. There's no other way to go about healing the body properly. Um, if you use medication to suppress a health issue, the cause is still present inside of you. So yeah, you can be dealing with the symptoms. You can be suppressing the cough. You can be suppressing the sneeze. You can be bringing the fever down. But what caused the fever? What caused the cough? What is inside of you that the body is trying to sneeze out? Those things, the medicines have no ability to correct. You know, if you're inhaling toxic fumes in your home, if you're drinking toxic drinks, if you're eating toxic foods that the body is trying to regurgitate out via vomiting or get rid of via diarrhea or getting rid of via a cough or a sneeze, whatever the so-called issue is that's going on, that is right action. And if you take medicine to stop that, where will the poisons go? And how will they get out of the body? They will remain in the body, causing damage. We talked about this a lot of times in our show where we talk about, what's the use of having a fire in your house and you hear the fire alarm go off and you go and put out the fire alarm and disregard the true cause of why the fire alarm is even sounding off, because there's a fire in the house. You don't address the fire, you address the noise, the alarm, and you cut it off because you don't want to hear the alarm. You take out the battery, you unplug it from the wall, or whatever you do to stop the sound of the fire alarm. Now, if we did this and went back to bed, we got up, the house was on fire, and we went and unplugged took the batteries out of the fire alarm because it was making too much noise and wouldn't allow us to keep sleeping. And we just go ahead and just take the battery out. And then we go back to bed and go back to sleep, all while the house is burning down to the ground or burning up, burning down or burning up. Either one. So the whole concept here is to get away from naming symptoms. You know, we constantly talking about symptoms. I feel this. I feel this pain. I feel this. I got this sneezing going on. I got this coughing going on. I'm sick. I'm suffering disease. According to natural hygiene, we only talk about there's only one disease known to man, which is poison blood. You know, a body cannot be unhealthy if the blood in that body is pure and clean. When the blood of that body becomes toxic, then the whole body is subjected to that poison blood. All right? Your organs and tissues have no means to pull nutrients from a bloodstream that is full of poison, that's so toxic and thick. No cells in tissue have the ability to dump their waste into a system that is already packed up with poisons and waste. So the blood, when it is already toxic and overburdened with poisons and waste, it no longer can take on the waste of the cells. So the cells, they continuously stay in the body in their own waste. So they're bathing in their own waste. And while they're bathing in their waste, that waste is irritating to the cells. If the cells are not washed away and kept clean, and this is done by the immune system. The immune system, with changing the fluid, the interstitial fluid that's inside, with the extra tissue fluid on the outside. This exchange, when the fluid inside the cell comes out, it brings all this waste out with it. And new fluid goes in. It's an exchange. The fluid that goes in takes in nutrients and vitamins. The fluids that comes out of the cell brings out waste and toxins and spent debris from that cell. It's like renovation work. It brings in good material in which to repair itself, in which to help it function properly. And then it sends out waste products and trash and broken down parts. It sends that stuff out via the lymphatic system, the lymph fluid. It's the lymph fluid. In this lymphatic system, it dumps into your thoracic duct or your subclavian vein, right at the top of your heart up here. And it dumps it into your circulatory system. Once it dumps it into your circulatory system, which is where the blood is, your blood is in the circulatory system, that blood circulates to an organ that filters that blood of the waste. If it goes to your kidneys filter out toxins by the blood going through it, and then you urinate. It produces urea, and you urinate, and you urinate out the poison. If it goes to the colon filters out the blood and filter out solid material. If it goes to the lungs get rid of gaseous and carbonic poisons. So these organs are elimination organs. And what they do is keep the blood filtered and clean. The problem comes in when those organs have been used, overused, and abused. If we're constantly engaging our kidneys to filter the blood of waste, they never get rest. And if the waste that's coming to that kidney is destructive and irritating, then it can damage the kidneys as the kidneys is trying to eliminate it. Same thing with the colon. Certain foods and toxins that we're putting into our body today is not natural. And they are actually irritating, and they're what's causing damage, premature damage to our cells and tissues. Because the kidneys wasn't designed to get rid of some of the stuff that's in these foods today. The colon wasn't designed to get rid of some of the stuff that's in these foods today. The lungs wasn't designed to deal with some of the toxins that we have in our environment, the air pollution that we get, because we want to make sure our house smells good. We want to make sure that our clothes have a fabricy softness to it. All these different things that we have been bringing into our world is actually what's causing our dis-ease. There's natural ways to get the same benefits to those things that we're artificially getting if we're willing to learn and become aware of how to better protect ourselves. Now, it's no natural way to eat, toxic foods. There's no natural way to eat Oreos and Doritos and your Nabisco snacks, your Little Debbie snacks, your General Mill cereals, your Kellogg's cereals. None of those things are natural, and there's no natural way to eat those things. There's no natural way to cook your food. Foods should be eaten raw and uncooked. So what foods that should be eaten raw and uncooked are foods that are suitable and palatable when eaten raw and uncooked. That's how you know what food was for man. You notice that we don't enjoy the taste of onions and garlic, just chewing on garlic, chewing on onions, or having a big bowl of onions and we eating it with some chopsticks. We don't make a bowl of garlic and sit down for dinner. We don't use bowls of ginger and all these other so-called things that we're told is food properties and good for our nutrition. Those things are actually irritating and has poisons in there. Some people say, boy, it's a vegetable, it's vegan. What do you mean? Onions is grown natural and it's vegan, but so is tobacco. Tobacco is grown natural and it's vegan and can be grown organic. But if you consume any of it, and believe it or not, tobacco got so many vitamins and minerals that the body can use. But it also have with it an assortment of poisons that the body cannot use and will destroy and kill the body. So, by that being said, tobacco would be a product that is not ideal for human health. Now, with a banana, but the components of a banana, everything is edible in the banana. And there's nothing in that banana that is going to produce any poison substances in the body. There's no poison part of the banana. All of the banana is suitable for ingestion by humans. Whereas the belladonna plant, not so. Neither is poison oak or poison ivy. But these things grow in nature and they grow wild, and they don't have to be with chemical sprays or anything like that. Every plant out there into the world is not edible. Certain ones have properties that are not ideal for us. But even when we go into the ground and start getting tubulars, because most of that stuff that I was naming, the gingers and the garlics and the onions and all, and the potatoes and the carrots and all these things, they grow in the ground. All right. Now the tops of these things might be okay to consume, but the tubular part, where a lot of the poisonous stuff get to, is not ideal. And certain leaves are not ideal for taking in either. But let's get back to the part where we're talking about our immune system and how our blood system works. Because if you listen to what I was telling you earlier, your lymphatic system is a major part of your immune system. According to our anatomy book, the human body is protected by both its skin and by the lymph and immune system. Every day it is open to attack from two types of hostility: poisons and toxins from without, and poisons and toxins from within. The body have to deal with the environment that is without it. And it also have to deal with the environment within. Now, how does it deal with the environment without? Poisons come in from without the body. These are what we call exogenous toxins. Toxins that gain entrance in the body from without. We get that from abnormal breathing of air, air pollution, having these big old chemical plants in our neighborhood. Ask all those people in West Savannah, here in Savannah, and that live right next to, Colonial Oil and smelling all that gas all day long in them big bombs they got, sitting out there on the river. But that's neither here nor there. Um, you have it where a lot of these other plants that are in the West Savannah area and all down the river got all these different plants that are polluting our air constantly with toxins and stuff like that. And it's not just in our area. I'm pretty sure all over the United States there's areas where big corporations are pumping much poison into our environment. So, that's a big step into causing communicable diseases when the community is being poisoned simultaneously, equally at the same time, because it's being pumped into our air. But also, we can poison ourselves internally, because if we're not just doing it externally through food, drink, air, and our uncleanliness, we also are producing it internally. Now, internally, you got cells and tissues that die on a regular basis. You got millions of cells, if not trillions, that die every day. You got some millions die every minute. And those cells have to be replaced, but those cells first have to be removed out of the body. Now, these cells that are being removed and being replaced are damaged cells that have either become cancerous, or cells that are just, are just going old or not functioning properly. So the body deemed them void, and they need to get up out of the body. So the immune system works to get them out of the body. The immune system will do it either two ways. It'll either go and engulf the cell or tissue or poison or whatever. And then that engulfing, see, they use like a macrophage or leukocyte, and they're engulfed, meaning that they eat like Pac-Man, go up to it and chew it and engulf it. So it'll circle and put a sac around it where that poison or that offending object can no longer damage any tissues. So it's like it put a buffer between the poison and the rest of the tissues of the body. And then the lymph will take that engulfed poison to a lymphatic gland to be stored. So you might have a little swelling up under here. You might have some swelling in the adenoids. You might have swelling in the tonsil glands up under the arms. All these different glands throughout the body, because you got so many glands all the way throughout your body. And these glands are like holding cells to store toxins before they are released out of the body. If you have you notice that sometimes you can have swelling in your glands in your neck and throat, and then the next thing you know, you got a drainage coming out through your mucus drainage. Your mucus drain come from your nose, or you cough out a big wad of phlegm. That's what was held captive in your glands. And the mucus, the glands was allowed to pour that poison straight into the throat, straight into the nasal, to be thrown out of the body. This is when the body can't throw it into the circulatory system, because the circulatory system is too toxic. Now, in the normal condition, it wouldn't have to dump it into straight out through your throat and you coughing up poisons and stuff like that. You're coughing up phlegm and sneezing out waste. It's not normal that the body does that. Normally, the body will dump it into the bloodstream, and the bloodstream will take it to an elimination organ, and the elimination organ will free the body of the waste. But when the blood is too toxic and nothing can be thrown in it, the body will have to find alternative routes in which to throw off its waste to free the glands of this captive poison. You have to find an alternative route. And if the gland is right next to the throat or right next to the nasal carry, it's going to just dump it out. It's going to just let it. If you have a cyst or polyp in women right next to the ovaries, they might notice that it fall right into the ovaries, out the urethra. I mean, out of the vagina area, and fall right into the toilet while they're urinating or something like that. I've had some women who had cysts that came out of them. It didn't. The cysts usually, in most of us, it will, like when they're fasting or changing their lifestyle, the cysts will dissolve inside internally. So the body will drain itself of the cyst, like because the cyst is just a capsulated poison. When the glands are no longer able to house anything else, the body form new such glands. But these glands are wherever the poison at. Now, this considered to be a gland is just the body encapsulating the poison, putting a barrier around that poison. Now, where it's located at, give name to the so-called tumor, polyp, wind, abscess, or whatever, depending on what tissue is involved and what area of the body does the medicine people give name to what the barrier is and how prolonged the damage is and how strong the barrier become depends on if it's going to be called a tumor as well. And when these sacs burst, this is what they consider to be cachexia, where it's spreading throughout the body. So the poison is being released, and this poison probably been sitting in that sac for quite a long time, because most times we carry tumors, abscess, winds, and cysts for many months, many years. And so whatever the body has been storing in that cyst or that polyp or whatever that sac is, I'm just going to call it sac. But whatever the body was storing in that sac has been putrefying. It's been steady rotting. It's not like it's been preserved in the sac. It's just being warded off from the rest of the tissues and cells. And the reason why it's being stored in this out of the way area is because it don't need to be around the healthy cells and tissue. So the body puts it up in a sac. Now, the reason why the body have to put it up is because it have no room for the regular glands to deal with it. And the regular glands can't deal with it because there's no room in the blood in which to throw itself off. And you're constantly having these so-called, you say, you're having these so-called colds and different, sneezing and stuff like that. But when you have them, what you do? You go to the medicine man and you take pills and potions to stop that. So your body can't get rid of the waste via the abnormal route. It can't get rid of it and throw it into the throat. It can't get rid of it and throw it into the nose because why? Because you taking pills that suppress it. So it can't get rid of it through the blood. It can't get rid of it through the acute disease because you're taking poisons to stop the symptom. So it have to be stored in the body. And this is where the capsule, the tumor, the abscess, the wind, the polyp, all these different things start developing in the body because there's no drainage. If there's a way to drain the poison out of your body, which was naturally draining when it was being dumped into the blood, or even abnormally draining via the acute disease of your coughing it out, sneezing it out, then it have to be chronically stored in the body. And that chronically storing is what we see when we start seeing these sacks of poisons that's being, stored in different areas and tissues in our body. It usually being out of the way tissues and fatty cells, and breast of women, buttocks, uh, different areas that are out of the way. But at different times where the poison is great and damage is being done to cells and tissues, or cells and tissues are being destroyed at a phenomenal rate from organic damage, then the body may even form that barrier right there at the site of the disturbance. Now, that site might be at an area that is of highly important. It might be right there by the lungs. And if a tumorish growth is growing right by the lungs and getting bigger, then the lungs can't expand to breathe. So breathing becomes difficult. If it's next to the heart and the heart can't beat properly, you have regular heartbeats. If it's around the brain, you have problems where blood don't get to the brain and you have abnormal brain function. So in different areas, if you have it in a part of the colon and it put a pinch on the colon, then you have obstruction and blockage for, digestive flow. So these tumors become a problem when they grow, or these sacs of poison. They are normal and they're necessary under the conditions, but they can result in, you say, hazardous and fatal issues in the body if they're allowed to continuously grow without doing something about it. And surgery only remove the initial sac of poison, but the poison that is being delivered to the sac, because the sac is getting bigger because more poison is being stored in it. So the sac is getting bigger because the cause of the poison has not been, dealt with, eliminated. So the sac is getting bigger. And when you remove the sac, now the poison have no way to go. So guess what it have to do? They have to eventually form another sac. They say, "Oh, more tumors came. We see new tumors grow." Why? Because I don't have a closet. You took the closet where I was storing all my trash at. You took the closet off my house. Now I got to start storing it up under the couch. Or I got to put it up under the rug. I got to go slide it up under my bed. I got to go hide it in other out of the way areas. And when there's no more out of the way areas, then right there, all throughout the body. But our immune system plays a major part in protecting us from poison. That's all it's doing, all day, every day. According to here, it says that the immune system fights wars on both fronts. Its chief troops are the white blood cells. Their transport and supply networks use the blood as well as the fluid vessels and lymph nodes. So the white blood cells are everywhere. According to our physiology book and the medical physiology, it tells us that, in matter of fact, let's read it here. It says here under the heading apoptosis, programmed cell death. It said the 100 trillion cells of the body are members of a highly organized community in which the total number of cells is regulated not only by controlling the rate of cell division, but also by controlling the rate of cell death. When cells are no longer needed or become a threat to the organism, they undergo a suicidal programmed cell death or apoptosis. So when cells are no longer needed or they become a threat to the body, such as, when abnormal cells grow, hardened cells grow, cancer cells grow, and we'll talk about how the cancer cells develop. A lot of people trying to figure out where this cancer comes from. And our upcoming show, we'll teach you all about how cancer develops in healthy cells, how cancer grows in any part of your body. Once you know what's causing it, you can remove the cause, and then you can allow the cancer to disappear, provided that you catch it in time. You can't wait till the whole organ is destroyed and has nothing there at all to say, I want that back. But if you got a little piece of it there, if you can catch it in time and discipline yourself and remove cause, then you can allow the body to, restore itself back to a better functioning power. So it says this process involves a specific proteolytic cascade that causes the cell to shrink and condense. So when the cells are no longer necessary, or they're damaged, or they're developing wrong or rogue or something like that, they automatically are programmed to kill themselves. Kill yourself, in other words. So these cells cannot grow into the human body because the body is deemed it necessary that it will kill itself. And how it does so is that it starts to shrink and condense. It becomes small and compacted. And it is disassembled into cytoskeleton. It's like it become it take off all the sheetrock and remove all the bricks and is left with just just the skeleton of the house, just the frame of the cell. It's broken down all the way to the frame. And to alter its cell surface so that a neighboring phagocyte cell, such as a macrophage, can attach to the cell membrane and digest the cell. So the cell, when it becomes rogue or damaged or old, it condenses, it shrivels up. And when it does so, a neighboring phagocyte that's just walking around and riding, checking things out, it notices that this cell has condensed. It's in a form that it have to be removed. That's the signal to the phagocyte. This cell need to be removed. So it'll go and engulf it. In contrast to the programmed death, cells that die as a result of an acute injury usually swell and burst due to loss of cell membrane integrity, which is a process called necrosis. So this is when cells are damaged, like through you hurting, slamming your hand in the door or something like that. Those cells are destroyed through a process called necrosis. But regular cells, as they produce in our body or abused in our body, they go through apoptosis, where the cell just go ahead and just kill itself because it's old, worn out, and it's not functioning properly. But when it has actually been damaged by some type of trauma, it goes through necrosis where it swells up and just bursts. All right. But those cells, they tend to, when they burst, they cause damage to neighboring cells. So when a cell bursts in your body through necrosis, and let's say that you're eating a bunch of toxic food and you're irritating and destroying stomach cells and tissues inside your stomach. You're eating highly spiced foods that destroy cells. You eating spicy foods that irritate the stomach, and you're eating too often that causes food to decompose and rot in your stomach, causing irritation. You're eating too much at your meal, causing the stomach to have the contents rot and ferment, causing irritation as well. So anything that causes irritation, eating under stress, causing the food to not be able to be digested and to rot and ferment inside of us, drinking without meals causes the fermentation in the food to rot in us. So under any of those conditions, we damage stomach tissue. Our stomach is being damaged from all that wear and tear. It causes gastritis, inflammation of the stomach lining, and all this different stuff. So that is irritating and damaging cells. And so when one cell is damaged and it goes through necrosis, it bursts. All right, it bursts, and when it does, it damages cells next to it. It's like a house, you know, or a car. Let's say a car. You know, you're out and about and the car catch on fire. It blows up. And when it blows up, if cars are next to it, because you got to move all the cars from around it, because it's going to blow up and other cars going to eventually blow up too if they're too close to it. They catch a fire just as well, and then they blow up, and it'd be a domino effect where every car next to each car is going to blow up. Well, the cells in the body can't move out of the way. So when cells become necrotic, they tend to spill their contents and destroy other cells around. This is that spreading that checks here, where you see destruction going on in the body. But the immune system, a healthy immune system, will go in and remove those cells before that activity happens. That's a healthy immune system. And that when you see the immune system going and getting these toxins out, it's then going to throw it out some route. Now, it might not be easy how it's throwing it out. If it's throwing it out through the skin as some skin eruption, you have pimples, blackheads, and all type of stuff. You have chicken pox or some other type of hives or something. That's just the body throwing out waste via the skin. It's erupting poison out of the skin. It's an avenue that the body deemed necessary to hurry up and get this waste out. But if you put on any salves or stop it in any manner, those symptoms or that avenue, then those poisons have to stay inside the body. So you're not helping your immune system when you're constantly fighting against it with your pills and remedies and your potions. Because the immune system at every time is trying to defend you from wasting poisons that have accumulated in your body. This is exactly what the book is telling us here. It says that several systems of the body helps defend it against various hazards, such as the sun ultraviolet rays, excessive heat, harmful chemicals, physical damage, and the threat of microorganisms, such as bacteria and viruses. That's a whole nother story we'll get into. However, the immune system incorporating the lymphatic system is the main means by which the body is protected from invasion. So here we see that the immune system is here to protect us from all type of poisons that are created from within or poisons that come in from without. Because if this poison is coming from out, the immune system attacks those poisons and render them useless, neutralize them, and then send them to elimination organs. Then they're eliminated out of the body. And so, if toxins in our body, even such as cells, become hazardous or damaged, they too are attacked by the immune system and taken away to be thrown out of the body. And this is what we see as our immunodiseases. It's just that the immune system is attacking unhealthy cells that are being generated over and over. Now, why do some of these cells? Why do we go into these issues? Is because, and why so much of the immune system is attacking cells and tissues, because now the DNA of that cell, let's say that it's a stomach cell, over a period of time, if we constantly eating irritating food, the cell have to change its function. It have to harden itself. It becomes hardened to constant. I gotta get. Hold on 1 second. All right. It has to constantly, give me 1 second. If it have to, I'm going to move something just, and we're going to be back on. All right. Let's hope that worked. But if the immune system have to constantly keep dealing with, well, let's say the stomach have to keep dealing with a constant irritation and destroying of the cells, eventually over time, the cells have to adapt to the constant irritation. So no longer does the stomach, produce a cell that that can digest food. It's creating a cell that can resist toxic irritation. That's just like a lung. A lung that a person smoking, the tissues of the lungs are no longer replicating a healthy tissue because it's going to adapt to its environment or its situation. If for you to stop having that coughing and stuff like that when smoking, your lungs got to harden. But to harden, to not be able to deal with that irritation, it no longer can be a healthy cell. It can no longer be a healthy lung. It no longer can be a healthy stomach. So your stomach and your lungs have to adapt. And now they're making unhealthy cells. The cells that your stomach is making are low-grade cells because they're creating your whenever your cells, according to the cell, you got this mRNA and you got DNA. The DNA is the chief, and it sends information to the ribosomes, which is the factory that builds the structure of the cell. But the DNA is the blueprint. It's the chief. It tells the cell what need to be done, how you need to build yourself, and how you need to function. But it doesn't talk to anybody. DNA is sitting inside the nucleus, mind is doing all the knowledge. And the mRNA is the only person that can go and talk to the DNA. It gets the patient, gives it back to the and the right do the information. It's going to build properly and it's going to function according to that plan. Now, there's a feedback though. When that cell is going through a toxic environment or an environment for it to preserve itself, it must modify its functions. So the cells they send information back to the DNA and say, hey, the conditions out here is irritating. We need to build our structure stronger because we're going to die because we're constantly being irritated by some type of poison. So we need to build ourselves stronger and harder, and we need to function more rapidly. So we use up more energy, and we have to modify our structure and become more harder. But all this modification and becoming hard and all type of stuff, it makes the cell become low grade and unhealthy. And so phagocytes and stuff, they see that. They're always scavenging the body trying to find cells that are unhealthy. But these cells are only modifying themselves because they're going to die anyhow if they don't modify themselves from the constant irritation. So this is how immunoproblems develop, where the immune system start attacking cells, but they're only attacking cells because the cells have adapted to some unhealthy environmental condition or some unhealthy habit that we keep presenting in our life. To correct those things, we have to identify the cause of the irritation in those cells that are being attacked. We remove the cause of the irritation, then those cells can start producing healthier cells, and the immune system will stop attacking them. Because the immune system is going to attack anything that causes the body to be threatened, even if it's cells and tissues in the body. Them too must be removed. That's just how the immune system works. All right. It's ideal that we actually work with our immune system instead of working against it. And the main thing about working against your immune system is by stopping the cure. You know, the cough is your cure. The vomit is your cure. You know, you won't stop a drunk man from vomiting. You want him to vomit. Matter of fact, you encourage him to vomit because he's vomiting out poison. The same thing happened in other vomits when a person is vomiting out, decomposed matter in his belly. The contents of his belly is he got a sour stomach or something like that, and he regurgitating this conglomerate of waste material that has been decomposing in his belly. When he has a diarrhea, that's the diarrhea is pushing out decomposing matter out of the intestines. So you want to encourage that activity, not stop it or prevent it with herbs and remedies and medicines and different treatments. You know, that is necessary action. That's why we say it's the right action. Don't with the too hard. So is cure. Why cure the cure? Why are you trying to palliate and suppress that which is your cure, which is going to make you feel all better? You get this stuff out, you'll feel all better. All your symptoms disappear. All your worries disappear. When you finish sneezing up that mess, you finish coughing up that mess, when stuff come up out of your skin and get out, all the poison out of you feel 100 times better. So it is the cure. Your body is designed to cure itself. Those cures are symptoms we see of elimination. Those eliminations is what's necessary for our body to heal. There's more that we want to talk about on the subject of immuno issues. I didn't want to sound too scientific, but I want to make sure that you know that I'm not just talking off my head when we're talking in Natural is Health. You know, we do teach science, and we teach science from a holistic point of view. Now, there's medical science that teaches that medicine is the cure, and they only see germs and stuff as the cause of sicknesses and diseases. In the holistic eye, we see it differently. We believe that the habits and the environment of mankind is the cause of his suffering. Hello, how you doing there, ma'am? Glad that you joining us. And we do appreciate all our viewers who join us every week to learn about holistic health and healing. Like I said, we're talking about the immune system today, and we want to make sure that you understand that you need to work with your immune system and not against it. And so stay away from using the remedies and the potions and stuff like that that is fighting immunoactivity. You know, you go to the doctor and he suppress your immune system with immunosuppressant drugs. Give you all immunosuppressant drugs to stop metabolic activity. The immune system activity is one of just destroying old, worn out material and removing it. So when we remove these things, hey, thank you. I love all these comments and thank y'all so much. And I'm really glad that y'all, following our show, Natural is Health. And we're going to continuously bring you information every Tuesday at 6 o'clock. But Like I said, in this show, the immunity. I want you to be strong. I want you to be strong and help your immune system. Work with your immune system. When you start sneezing, don't stop the sneeze. Find out why you're sneezing. What's in your environment? What you've been eating. You know, even if you don't even remove the cause at first, still just don't stop the symptom until you can find out the cause, because that's going to lead you. All you have to do is find out what you've been eating, what you've been drinking, and anytime you start producing that sneeze or that cough, find out what you was just doing. What did you just eat all throughout the day? What where have you been dealing with any stress? Or if first learn the 10 ways of health. And I'll show, if you look back in any of our shows, it'll teach you the 10 ways of health. And if you're out of line with any one of those 10 ways, that's a reason for you to start suffering health issues. And if you're suffering health issues, you can look and say, okay, which one of these I'm lacking, or which one of these I'm in error of. And all you have to do is correct that way, and then you should see health regenerate back in your body. That's just like if we had a plant, and that plant needed soil, water, and sunlight. And we neglected it. We had it hidden in a back alley, hidden up under a box where it didn't get no sun, but we made sure it was in good soil and it had water. And if we know it need those three conditions to grow, and we see and we put it up next to it and say, okay, well, we got water and we got good soil, but we're lacking sunlight. Then we can supply the sunlight where the tree can grow. These are the same conditions that I'm talking about. There are 10 ways of health, 10 conditions that we've come up with in natural hygiene called the energy enhancers. Once you apply them to your life, and if you see you're missing or you're faltering any one of those 10 ways, you apply them, then you should see your body regenerate or restore itself back to health. And there's no need for medicines or herbs or remedies or anything. That's why we call ourselves natural as self. We're just going to teach you the natural bare blocks on how to do it. What you're suffering from. Let me show you the natural way to do it. You don't have to use no herbs, no remedies. This is what you should be eating. This is how you should be drinking. This is how you should be resting. This is the exercise you need to use to correct that muscle area. Oh, whatever your unique issue is. You say it, and we'll show you the natural approach to restoring your body back to health. And believe me, there is no disease known to man that natural hygiene can't address and show you how to replenish your health back to optimum, or to a state where you don't have to suffer as you're doing under the medical approach. So I want to tell you to have a great week. I love y'all, and like I said, I thank y'all so much for tuning into the show every week. And we ask that you share it with others. Tell people about it, that there's a show that come on every Tuesday at 6 o'clock on ATR Media platform. We want to thank the platform for allowing us to come up here and do our show where we can spread the teachings of natural hygiene to as many people as we possibly can. Because with a healthier nation, mankind can start living back longer. We can get rid of a lot of the healthcare costs that is, causing us to have financial problems in our society. We can get rid of a lot of sicknesses in man and have them back out working, feeling good. Get a lot of the mind working better when you're not worrying about your health and your body, no more. So let's reach for the highest health attainable, and we found that in natural hygiene. So learn about it and apply it to your life and in your kids' life and your family life, that they may not suffer disease either. And we can keep each other out of the hospitals, out of the doctor offices, and off the pills and potions, and away from the knife. All right, so best of health and happiness. I probably said that 3 times already, but I love y'all, and God bless. Good night.
like this.